Thoughts on the realistic female video game characters and the realism versus fantasy debate?
Let me take this, if I can.
Well, you can start it.
Let me start with this.
We might agree on this. I think we might agree on this. I'm going to say there's a 75% chance we might agree on this.
This is how I look at it. SJW, whatever.
What's something to do with that?
No, well, to a degree it does.
Okay, it does a little bit, but go.
So,
you first.
Here's my thing. I am glad that women are being portrayed more realistically in games. Absolutely. Especially on these mainstream games, these mainstream RPGs, these Tomb Raiders, these things like that. They are no longer being marketed to teenage boys that need pandering. They are being portrayed more realistically, with more realistic personalities, and this is great. However, as a person who plays the Senran Kagura series of games,
which is
incredibly large boobed ninjas action games, anime style.
How dare you, Ian?
I am not adverse to the whole fantasy aspect of it, but I do think that, especially, but this is the thing, that's a niche market of games. Okay, it's over the top, it's cutesy, and there's a lot of boob jiggling. And there's a place for that. Just like they can do something like that with dudes, and I'm fine. You can over-glorify... I mean, there's an anime based on swimmers where, like, all the dudes are, like, drawn fucking, buff as shit and sleek, and girls love it, and that's fine.
Big packages.
Just, like, six packs and whatnot, and that's totally fine. Like, ogle what you want to, but I think that for video games to kind of get a mainstream respect, these mainstream games need to stop with things like fucking exposed midriffs and fucking boob armor and shit like that. Stuff that makes zero fucking sense. So I'm very happy that in the realm of more broadly accepted games, everyone, anything, women especially, are being portrayed less as sex objects and more as characters in a story who are dressing appropriately and filling their roles as they would in real life.
I think the story and context of the game is everything.
Sure.
I think it's silly to have an outrage over something like DOA volleyball when it is what it is. It's big boob girls playing volleyball, and that's your experience. Right. It's a fantasy. It's like softcore porn. That's what it is.
That's what Senran Kagura is. As you get beat up, you lose clothes until you're in a swimsuit. And
it's not pretending to be something it's not. There's a difference between that and then having a serious game, and then all your male characters are serious, and then all of a sudden all your female characters
are half naked.
Eye candy, stupid characters. So then what you're doing then is mixing the message and then throwing any sort of structural integrity of the story and characters out the window. That to me is entirely different, and that's when I think it is justified to have a debate about a character being misrepresented.
Yeah,
that's with the movies or anything else. That's valid, but you cannot say this game is sexist. This game is wrong just because on the surface there's a scantily clad female. There's more than that. It's the context of the entertainment.
Yes, you cannot blanket statement all of these games. There is a time and a place for fantasy and for cheesecake, which is what I call it. You call it cheesecake. You call it softcore porn, I call it cheesecake. There's a time and a place for that, and that's okay for both men and women. But like you said, when it's a more serious role, you need these characters to be portrayed seriously.
Yeah, if you're portraying the men one way, it's only fair to have the women portrayed the same way. Yeah. That to me is totally valid, and to me that's more interesting. I don't want to play a story where all the females are one-dimensional or just tits and ass. Again, because
it's not fucking real life.
Again, unless that's what the world is. If that's the Duke Nukem world, that's fine. The whole world is ridiculous.
See, now Duke Nukem, Duke Nukem is something that I would disagree with you on. I feel like Duke Nukem is a bit misogynistic to the point of Duke Nukem wants to be taken as something more seriously than it is.
No, it doesn't. That's a send-off of 80s action movie tropes.
It's a piece of shit that cashed in on boobs and ripping off quotes from other people.
See, that's where I think that's so obviously over the top, where I think that's where it's just...
To me...
It's an 80s movie. Okay. He looks like Arnold Schwarzenegger, the character.
We're on the same page with different paragraphs. To me, Senran Kagura is so over the top that you cannot take it as something else. Dead or Alive Beach Volleyball...
You think some people can take Duke Nukem as seriously, therefore...
Not necessarily seriously, but I see it as...
Is it straddling a line?
It's a line... It's almost more mean-spirited. I believe the portrayal is almost more mean-spirited.
Okay. I see what you're saying there. When you have, I guess, the female aliens, when the nude females, and then they get turned into aliens, and you kill them and stuff like that. That's to you a little bit too much.
That's too much.
Okay, I agree with that. That's a little bit too weird. But all right, that's fine. Like I said, it all comes down to the context. I have no problem. I think it's great that there's stuff like Magic Mike out there for women to see.
Sure.
It's fantastic.
No, and that's the thing. I feel like a lot of this debate wouldn't occur if there were more people who would go out there and make a similar thing for women. And I'm all for it. Everyone, dude, porn exists for a reason, and you don't always need hardcore porn, but sometimes it's nice to just look at boobs. Sometimes girls just want to look at muscle or their ideal version of a guy, and that's okay to be put into game form. There's nothing wrong with that.
Magic Mike coming to 3DS.
Boners in your face, ladies and gentlemen. All right, onwards. I should also say, ladies and men. It's not like just ladies want to see dick. Anyways.
Okay.
and not just men want to see boobs.
It depends on your persuasion.
Well, I'm a beer deep. I got to make sure I cover the bases because that would be wrong.
We can admire the male form.
I'm totally 100% okay with judging a dude's attractiveness, and I don't feel bad about it.
I don't either. Why not?
Moving on.